Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is well. And we got people still joining us. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday.
Sorry, calendar on app.
Oh, righty then. Okay. Um, Looking for one guest to show up. All right. So, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is well. I have started the recording, so I have not missed that. So welcome to GT Tuesday. Happy February, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well, enjoying this up and down weather of Texas. And so, we got a brief agenda today. Baylor Tip is supposed to be here to have talk a little about their program. I got a question from the field already to share, and I know my friend Kristen Graham is here to talk about tag it. So we are good to go. And so, hopefully, y'all just drop it in the chat. How's everyone doing? Y'all doing well out there? How's it going in your districts or at your ESCs? Because I got some ESC partners here with me today. I see you. All right, the longest month ever. I know. All right, yes, Tuesday, woohoo, in the beginning of the month. Yes. Oh, doing budget work. Okay. That is an interesting thing. All right, sounds like everyone's doing well. Got things going on. All right. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. All right, so I like to talk about our state definition and what we look like and who we're looking for. And it's for some of you, it's that season also, because it's thinking about your kindergartners. So we're looking for those students who perform and or shows the potential for performing at remarkably high levels of accomplishment when compared to others of the same age, experience, or environment. Who shows those capabilities in the intellectual, creative, or artistic area. Then also those who may have that capacity for leadership, and then definitely those who excel in the academic specific academic fields. So really thinking about all of those kids, how they look in our own little realm of the world, and then going to our goal and how do those students show their skills in our programs? Really, hopefully, they're doing some self-directed learning, some thinking, research, definitely some research out there. How are they communicating that to the world by the development of innovative products and performances, and really how that reflects their own individuality, creativity, and are advanced in relation to other students of the same age, experience, or environment. And then what are our high school graduates looking at? Have they participated in programs that allow them to help produce a product of professional quality or perform at that level? So really thinking about what do our programs look like? How are our students getting to that point? And then really, what is that continuum of services in your district? And always remember, I always talk about make sure you define what your programs of services are, especially for those who are talking about their funding and money. Because if you don't know what you're serving and who you're serving and how you're serving them, how can you say, yes, that can be spent or no, that cannot be spent on that activity? All right. So that leads us to our first guest, and not a guest, but she's always here with us. Kristen, how are you today?
Hey, Monica, thanks so much. Glad to be here on this Tuesday. It is truly a beautiful, feels like late spring day here in Austin. Not sure how it feels to the rest of you all, but really glad to be with y'all. I'm Kristen Graham. I'm the Deputy Director for the Texas Association for the Gifted and Talented. TGT is your professional home. So I know when I was a teacher and then when I became a GT coordinator, I first learned about TGT and really all things GT through Googling, through doing some literal cold calls to after finding some other districts' websites, and then was quickly recommended to get involved with TGT as soon as I could. And so I did, and it just became a lifeline for me where I got connected and built a network of other GT and education professionals from across the state who are all trying to figure out the same things that I was trying to figure out and solve the same problems and take advantage of the same opportunities. So TGT is the place where you can get connected and empowered to be able to serve your teachers, your students, and your communities to the best of your abilities. And so if you have never heard of TGT before, or maybe just heard about it a little bit, I do encourage you to check us out. I'll send some information in the chat, but at txgifted.org, you can learn lots of things about how to become a member and what all you get with that. But we provide professional learning opportunities, opportunities for you to connect again with others across the state. We're in a legislative year, and while we're always have advocacy on our minds, it's especially pertinent this time of year. We send out weekly advocacy updates as it pertains to our community and to education in general. So we're really glad that we get to provide that information to you all and help you stay empowered at your local level and at the state level. I really would love to take a couple minutes today to talk about a couple things that are coming up this spring. We just finished our annual conference in December, and we love the springtime as well because every year in late March, we get to welcome all GT coordinators and leaders and directors from across the state to our leadership conference. And so we gather about 250 of you all from all over, where you get a chance to learn together, to have those important hallway and dinner conversations, and really just connect on the things that are keeping you up at night and share the successes and the wins. And so it's always just a great event for everyone to come together. We will be publishing the sessions soon, like next week. So you'll get to see specifically all the sessions that are going to be there. But I wanted to share with you a couple or a few that you might want to keep in mind. So one, just know on Tuesday, on April 1st of the conference, our closing session will be about some recent state plan updates that have happened, but also it'll be part workshop time. We've heard some feedback from our steering committee and from you all that you would love to have some guidance on how to develop some things that you want to that stem from the state plan, like, you know, if I'm out of compliance in an area, what does a plan look like to you know, address this over a certain time period? Or what does you know, how would a policy be written to address, you know, like fiscal fidelity with GT funds in my district? There's some questions that you all have had that we hear on here too. Monica provides information, and you get information from each other as well. And so we're going to bring that all in one place and then also give you some time to work with each other on specific topics that you want to work on. So we're really excited about that. Meredith Austin is going to be a part of that. She has gladly agreed to help guide us through that time. And then I also just wanted to share a few of our breakout sessions that will be happening. The sessions were reviewed by our steering committee, and so we listened to them and heard about, like, what do you want to learn about? What do you want to hear about? What feels really important right now? And so we've got a few sessions about how to build support with your administrators, with your school boards, how to leverage your GT programs, how to, create more buy-in across the board. Amanda Smith is specifically going to be doing a session. She and the education committee have worked over the past year on creating a school board training template from the GT perspective. And so she's going to be sharing that resource and talking about how she specifically has lived that in her district and how she's built a relationship over time with her school board members and kept them up to date and gotten that buy-in from them. And so she's going to be talking about her lived experience while also sharing a resource and tool that you'll be able to use. There's a session about how to navigate doing program evaluations, how to determine where the places are in your programs and your services and your identification processes, where you may need to take a second look and think about how you're doing things and what might need to be improved. Talking about some different ways, some different service models for students that could be implemented district-wide if you're looking for maybe a different way to do things, and also how to get buy-in from those crucial audiences that you need. We have a couple of sessions specifically for like maybe smaller or rural school districts, so you won't want to miss those if that's who you are. There is space carved out for you. Luke Hurst is going to be doing what I imagine to be an amazing session about how to demonstrate using data the importance and growth and significance of your GT programs in your district, which is what I feel like we're all trying to do on any given day, is demonstrate that. Lots of really great sessions. Again, we'll have those sessions all published next week. So you'll be able to go back to the conference website and see those, and I'll link this in the chat. But I'm really excited about everyone who's going to be presenting at the leadership conference. So yeah, really excited for everyone to come together and have these really important conversations. And if Monica, I can have a couple more minutes of time, I would love to also share that TGT has another conference a little later this year in June 9th through 11th, our Gifted Plus Equity Conference. And this conference is really for anyone and everyone who is invested in the outcomes of gifted and talented students and implementing your programs and services in your district. This conference just really seeks to help serve underserved populations, populations where there may be, whether it's systemic, historical, otherwise, maybe there's barriers in place for certain populations. Again, I'll share this link here in the chat where you can read more about the conference. But that's going to be in Allen, Texas, so just north of Dallas. So my DFW friends, that'll be closer for you, but our call for proposals is currently open for that event, and the deadline is March 7th. So before you jet off and take your break in March, consider submitting a proposal. We would love to hear all about what's going on in your districts and how you are helping serve all students. So take a look at that link there in the chat, and you can read more information there, both about the leadership conference and Gifted Plus Equity, and then our just general association website is there for you to read more information. And I will put my email here as well for those that may want to reach out directly. But you can also on our website, we have an advocacy page where if you want to look at legislative priorities and just information or sign up for our legislative updates. It's already, the legislature is already off to a start. So we'll see what happens between now and the end of May, and what gets going there, but we'll keep you updated on all things as it pertains to gifted and talented education in Texas. And we're very closely watching, school finance, everything surrounding that, and we will keep you informed. So that's what I've got for today. Thank you, Monica, again, for giving us a few minutes to share here. And I hope to see so many of you at the leadership conference in April.
All right.
April.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone have questions? I don't see any that popped up for Kristen. All right. Well, I want to say thank you, Kristen. Thank you for those updates. And now we will then we have a little info and I want to say I hope I get this right. Danae Girk or
Yes.
all
Hi,
right.
Monica. Thank you.
You're welcome. And do you need to share? Do you got slides to
Yes.
share?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I
I
will
do.
stop. Beautiful.
Okay. I'm getting my screen shared. I will try not to take up too much of your time today, but I'm Danae Garrick, and I am the program manager at Baylor Tip in Waco, which is a talent identification program. And we work with districts and schools and provide programming for students in 1st through 12th grade. So I was going to take you through briefly some things we offer in case you wanted to take it back to your district, to your school. Go ahead. A little bit about me. I was a public ed teacher, gifted teacher. I've been an instructional coach and an administrator, and now I'm working at Baylor Tip. So I've been in public schools and the struggles that we deal with and all the wonderful things that our students do. And so we at Baylor Tip just want to partner with school districts and schools, and that simply means sharing information about programming we offer. And so the slides I'm going to briefly walk you through, I schedule virtual parent info sessions with schools and districts where districts invite families to come hear about what we offer, and they become a partner, and a partner simply you just share our information. There's no level of commitment that you have to do.
Danae,
So
Danae.
yes.
So you're breaking up, so you might want to cut your
Yes.
camera off while you're presenting. That might help with your
Is that better, Monica?
Yes, that is much better.
Okay, sorry. I take parents through the history of a talent search because they often don't know what that means. Talk about Duke Tip and that Duke Tip closed during COVID, and then Baylor Tip saw the opportunity to provide those services for students in Texas, and we have some partners in Louisiana, Arizona, and Oklahoma. So I don't know if many of you know, but Duke Tip was pretty big in Texas, and Cheryl is our director, and she worked for them. So she makes sure that we provide the same level of academic challenge and expertise that Duke did. Baylor has been in gifted ed for 42 years with our University for Young People. And then we opened our Center for Gifted Education and Talent Development in 1999. And so we offer teacher training, assessment, GT parent conferences, and research on gifted students. I tell parents about the benefits that research shows of talent search participation, which you all know all of this already. But one of the things that we offer at Baylor Tip and how it helps students qualify to be part of our summer programming is they take an above level test called the Indicator of Academic Readiness, IAR. It's for students in 7th grade and up. It is an online test taken at home, and we have some school districts that partner with us to offer the test synchronously. It's about a 2-hour test, and it aligns with ACT and SAT questions. We also offer an IAR 8-9 for students in grades 4 through 6th grade, and it aligns with PSAT and pre-ACT, same format at home or online or with a school. if they choose to do so. It's similar to IR, but some of the math is not as high level. At the beginning of the assessment, we also look at the qualitative data that students self-reflect on. And so they're asked questions about their academic motivations, what they want to do, how they handle struggle in school. And this information can only help a student qualify to be a Baylor Tip Scholar. It doesn't hurt them. After the test, parents and schools that provide the synchronous testing environment can get in the testing portal and see a report by their student or about their student and how they did. And it is very robust. Let's see if this will open. Might not. It's taking a minute to open. There we go. Slow internet here.
Danae? I wonder if she's frozen. She might be frozen. Or not. And I bet she's frozen. Yep, she's frozen. All right. Well, we'll be watching for her to come back. Yep. And so, but you know us. We are GT, so we pivot and we keep moving. And when she comes back, we'll bring her back on board. All right, y'all. Thank you for your patience, and we'll get some more info on Duke Tip in a minute. But then I did get a question from the field. How many of you are using iReady in your district? Because I got this question a couple weeks ago. And if you're using it, how do you use it? Or is it just a district level test? Or are you using it as a part of your process? Ooh, got a big capital we. No longer use it. And then what are your thoughts around the test? How your premises around it? So feel free if you want to share, come off mute. Further questions about it? This is an open question. Anyone?
Can I ask Bridget, so why do you no longer use it?
I think it stemmed from our ELAR department, who just determined that it didn't show enough progress growing to really justify the cost and the usage. And so we moved away from iReady. We kind of pivoted after COVID also and started doing MAP in grades 3 through 8. And so they're looking more at that program. And they just kind of decided to do other non-computer based programs for K-12, K2. But really it came down to just they didn't see a lot of progress or growth in our students.
Okay. Thank you for saying that. I am the Cheryl Beard from Garland ISD, and recently I was informed that my district is looking at moving from MAP to iReady, and I was asked could I use that for GT identification, and I was not familiar enough with the assessment or with other districts that use the assessment, so I reached out to Monica to ask, and so I'm still searching for information.
When we did have it, we didn't use it as part of our GT matrix. We found it to be very on level with very little data that represented advanced ability. So we used other measures for that. it may have changed in the last few years, and maybe they do have a report that might allow you to access and determine whether a student is really performing above grade level peers as possibly a, indicator of giftedness. But we just didn't, we meaning advanced academics, didn't find it as a reliable criteria for identifying giftedness.
And-
But they did use it for reading and math in the content areas.
Sure. Thank you so much for that. So you all found it better to go to MAP instead of iReady.
Our district shifted to MAP with the goal of focusing more on teacher-based instruction versus computer-based instruction, right? So MAP guides the teachers on what their areas of weakness and strength are, and they adjust instructional practices to that data. And we found it to be more beneficial and more accurate than programs such as iReady.
Thank you so much. I felt the same way. We were using MAP and I was pretty pleased with how we were using that. And so I just want to provide some insight on this already before the decision has been made finally. I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you to those who have messaged me directly. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Monica.
You're welcome. That's what this field is for. This is what these calls are for. Because, I do have some certain topics that we will discuss, but then it is open for your questions, your wonderings, and to hear from others that you probably might not get the chance to hear from, because we can't all go to everyone's session at Taggart or whatsoever. But this is a general call where you got an issue that you want someone on your level or playing field to give me your thoughts. This is it. All right. And I'm dropping in the chat, as you know, the state does provide a list of approved group administered achievement tests. So I'm dropping that link in the chat. So if you need to find to use that, you have that out there. And I do not, Danae has not came back. So we're gonna keep proceeding. Y'all know me. All right. So are there any other questions, thoughts, wonderings? Could we do this? Or, you want to have a discussion about? It is, I don't think I had in the fall an Ask Monica session, so we have an Ask Monica session.
Monica, I just kind of wanted to ask if anybody on here is already working with Baylor for Baylor TIP and what their experiences were so far.
Good question. Anyone working with Baylor TIP already?
We were not, in Allen ISD, we were not able to plan to host the testing and do the full scale partnership with them. But Danae did do a parent meeting. We did a lunch and learn, and I am directing families toward that resource. So posting it on the website, sharing it out with folks. And we got a really positive response and just making this an option available to our families.
All right, Stacy, I see you.
We are working with Baylor TIP this year. We have got a lot of parents who are wanting more than what we're able to give them. And so Danae has been doing an amazing job with helping us set it all up. When we used to do Duke TIP, we actually had kind of a study session that we did specifically for our students that set up. So it was kind of like that little extra thing they get. We had ours for Baylor TIP last week. So we had a parent meeting. We had Dr. Kessler come out to our district and talk to everybody, and then did kind of a Q&A, make sure all the parents know that you don't have to be gifted and talented identification in order to be a part of it. And then we had them register for our session, and they showed that they were part of the session. Then they were invited to the strategy session. So we had a big strategy session the last week before last. We only have 40 kids this year, but I think that's a great starting place for us. And we spent about 3 hours that morning going over general testing strategies. We didn't go into content. So we're looking at maybe going a little deeper next year, but most of it was just talking about testing anxiety, and then general strategies they could use on any test, no matter what type of tests they were taking. And then this Saturday, they are coming back to do the actual IAR with us so that we can pull the data. And then in March, we're having our own kind of district competition. In that district competition, they're going to receive, much like we did with Duke Tip, they'll receive medals. We've got an educational foundation grant, so 10 of those kids are going to get some scholarship money in order to be able to enter some Super Saturdays or put it towards something else like that. So we've turned it into a whole program, and we're just working through the kinks as we go this year.
All right. Thank you for that tidbit. All right. Any other questions? Because we got one in the chat. Looking at MAP, what are your threshold scores or your cutoff scores? How are you using it? Someone is using 85 percentile or higher. Okay. Mm. I see your question, Emily. Well, not a question, your statement. Some aptitude tests on the achievement test list. So they're group administered, so that's probably where they're looking. Some tests are multiple use or devised in their implementation. So we'll look into that. Any other questions, wonderings, thoughts? And it doesn't have to be around maps or testing.
Hi, Malika. Can you hear
Yes.
me okay?
I can hear you, Danielle.
This is Danielle from KDISD. I just have a question for you. The new state plan language surrounding cluster grouping. I know there are two statements there. The first statement says that a group is defined as a minimum of 4. And the second statement says that students should be placed in a group of 33% or more. And I know that there are some alternate arrangements if we don't have 33% of the grade level, of the roster in the grade level. But can you clarify the difference between the 33% and the 4? Like, why were both of those statements included?
Okay, so as you know, the beautifulness of our beautiful state of Texas, there are so many options and things out there that are going on at the local level. So for your local district, it might be that you're thinking groups of 4, and that's where we're going to move for. And then where other districts are, we have the capacity and we can do the 33%. And we can do that across the board and ensure fidelity with that. So it's not one or the other. It's what is your availability in your district and what your district interest is. Because there are going to be some that's going to go with our old terminology of 3, or there's going to be some that if I could put pairs in a room together, they're happy. Okay. And then we got those who still say there are no GT kids in our buildings. And so, but we're really looking at moving forward into how working together for those. And so it just really depends on your your district and how you want to implement that. So it gives you the option. And when we devised that definition, we knew that there will be options. We needed options for the state of Texas.
Got it. That makes sense. Thank you.
Okay.
So Monica, just to clarify then, when principals are asking me what the minimum requirement is, how do I respond when it does list both? Because I as a department am promoting the 33%, and I'm saying that that's what's listed as the requirement, and they're looking it up and they're saying, well, it says 4.
But you can follow back as our district per our policies is going with 33%. Our policies and procedures. So it just makes sure, and that's where also I reiterate that you somewhere in some document that's where you got it written down. These are the options, but this is what we're going to do in our district. Yep.
Got it.
This is how we're serving kids. Because otherwise, yeah, they can go to the state, but it still goes back to you as a local district making that local decision. Okay. And now I see another question. How are districts identifying good candidates for acceleration in K-5 as outlined by the clarifiers on the updated state plan? So how many are you looking at candidates for acceleration K-5? I think that's going to be a weird question. Well, here's a couple of ways to I take that. There's going to be certain things for K-5 that we can look at, but are you looking at specific student subject area? Or is it as they arrive, we arise in the pool of students? How do you find them? I think that is also one of the things. How are you looking for students? So anyone want to share how they're looking for those who are being pulled up?
And I can clarify that question a little.
Yes. Thank you.
Because it's a big, wide question. So I met with my elementary coordinator group, and so we're looking at the clarifiers for the updated state plan, and we're wanting to make sure that we are very straightforward with families and very transparent. Because now there are specific pieces about subject-specific acceleration outside of CBEs. So we were just trying to think of good data points for those GT identified students so that we can do right by the kids and be actively seeking them out to provide those opportunities in a way that we can share with families and with teachers.
Okay. So I'm just going to talk off the top of my mindset. I would probably say start also looking at the local, as Bridget put in, the local achievement, but then also what are those teachers seeing in the classroom of those high level students that are performing? Because the thing is, you gotta wonder, and this is my wondering, are they going to allow for a second grader to go to that third grade math room or that third grade English language arts room? So really, are they saying those students are that progressed? So are they differentiating their instruction already? Or what kind of level of acceleration are we talking? Are we telescoping what we're doing or compacting what we're doing in the classroom? Or are we saying these kids are going physically to another room to get better services at a higher level? So I think that kind of also plays into your thought process of how we're accelerating and what is our acceleration plan for our students. Because one is we work over the summer and we provide those differentiated instructions, those opportunities for acceleration in our curriculums. And the other one is we making sure that students have the opportunity to really move forward to the next level.
Monica, can I answer Kobe's question?
Yes.
So he said, does this transcript, this kind of touches on what we talked about the last TE or the last GT Tuesday. For our district, we are still kind of not in that point where we're able to do that for K4 students, where it's single subject on transcript showing a difference. So we keep them on grade level for documentation, and then they receive that accelerated instruction kind of more informally as they move up. And then once they get to 6th grade, they can officially accelerate and get that on their transcript, if that makes sense, Kobe.
And to Jennifer's point, if a second grader is going to that third grade every day for reading instruction, yes, they are taking the third grade reading start. So yes. So wherever they are getting that level of instruction, that is where they are taking that level of test. And then when I talk to parents, it's also talk to your district about that long-term goal of where do they go when they get to high school? Is that dual credit? What are they doing? So, yeah. Oh, grade level. Okay. Yeah, that is a difficult one. Right. And I don't think Danae ever popped back And I did not see her. All right. Any other shout outs, wonderings, questions? So Blake's question is, could a student retain their grade level and still receive acceleration above grade level content? That is a possibility. Yes, it could be. It could be depending on your school, your campus, just teachers are providing that in the classroom. Automatically it's, it might be a third grade, fourth grade combined kind of thought process, how they're doing services. It's all a local district design and how you do that. And then, it might be a certain group that are clustered together and moving in that route. There's many opportunities in different ways it could happen. And we just have to, just really think about it and have those conversations at your campus and then with your departments, and then getting it down to that granular to the teacher to have that conversation that, yes, I can teach above my grade level. And no, I cannot just teach my grade level. Knowing that they know, beyond, because, parents do not like to hear that they cannot teach beyond whatever grade level they're teaching, because a lot of teachers say that. Knowing that they've probably been told something to that effect, but that was not the intention that they cannot teach above or beyond or below. So, yes. Let me see, got content. So where am I? I saw a question on the Blue Bonnet. We will be having those. There are conversations around that, and we will look into that. I think that was the Blue Bonnet instruction for gifted supplemental resources. I will make sure that will be highlighted. And so, okay, with credit by exam for K5 is a whole different rule set. Because if you remember, credit by exam for K5 is for grade level advancement and also by a district policy on how they do that advancement. And so most times if a student does not advance for grade level at K5 with all 4 tests, they're not going to advance them. We already know that. So most times it's really just for, that's where our realm of the GT world hits with acceleration opportunities, because say that kid does blow out the water, the math part of that CBE, what do we do with them? Because there's no actual, at the elementary level subject area assessment. It's all pretty much grade level, as I mentioned. So really, that's where some of these conversations comes into play. What do we do as our K5, really looking at how do we go and move forward those kids and getting them that appropriate education for their academic growth. Yep. All right. Y'all have been popping up the chat on this. So we'll have a good conversation about acceleration. So I'm gonna say it this way also. Send me your questions. And then I will get our some other partners from the agency to come and we'll talk about a little bit more on acceleration and some other opportunities out there and how does it look. Yeah. Yep. It does happen. I see it. All right. Other questions, wonderings. Oh yeah, Stacy. It can be a logistical update question, because you got to think depending on the school district, and either you do not have capacity, and I'm just going back to the question of the 6th grader and 8th, with the algebra and moving forward. It's like, Who takes them from the middle school to the high school? Because the high school might be the only place where Algebra 2 is taught. Do we put them, now we got more virtual options. Do we get them a virtual class? Where do they go for this virtual class? So those, because, those are some of the real struggles out there is, do we drive, who takes them to the high school for that course? Do they go in the morning before school, or is at the end of the day? Who's carting them back and forth? Those kind of conversations are happening. So yes, the GT resource, Texas GT resource, that is one of the most updated. Where actually I've been looking at edits for our GT websites today. So that is up to date. Our GT equity will be getting up to date, and the toolkits will be up to date. What questions? Okay. All right. As a district of innovation, wow. District of innovation, y'all have your own kind of rules and guidelines, but I will look at that. I got it. I will take that question. All right. Okay. Oh, we will not address GPA. That's a local district decision. Mm-mm. And rankings, that's all local. That is all local. Oh, I've seen some weird configurations on that. Nope. Mm-mm. Not touching that one. That's gonna stay local. Any other questions, wonderings, before we get ready to, or any shout outs? Yeah, I'm not touching GPA and rankings. No. Mm-mm. I love it. All right. If there are no shout outs, I know I got some ESCs on. So yes, these are our current resources out there. Also, if you need any resources to review, check out. Also, our DT Education Resources page where you will find the recordings. If you do not find the recordings, are always easier to find on the you can always find them on YouTube. If you do not find them here yet, the recordings are always posted first before they get anywhere else. And all of the PowerPoints will be there. So I will be updating. I do have a few updates to put out there, but yes. Thank you, Blake. All right, so we're going to develop a virtual acceleration program.
I
Okay,
mean, while we're dreaming, Monica,
while we're dreaming, we can always dream. That is something out there. We could talk about that. Yeah. Oh, can we create a virtual pathway for these kids? Actually, we could. When you think about it, there are more options out there now for our students in the virtual platform. Because there are schools, our virtual partners out there, some of them are on the call, that do have GT programs. And so, and then there's so many minds on this call that could actually have a virtual GT school. Haha. That there will be some parents that will hunt you down and make sure their kids are a part of that program of services. And so really thinking about that in the curriculums that we're using. So yes. Have your people call our people. Yes. All right. Thank you for those options and those considerations. So if you see some of us decide to retire and move around, you know where we're going. We're going to start the Texas Virtual Acceleration School for Giftedness. Some kind of name, really. But thank you, y'all. So if you have any I have not. I'm getting probably it's time to set up another GT announcement newsletter. So I'll be getting that into play. But if you ever need to reach me, you know how to find me. Feel free to call, to email. If you got questions, as you see with Dr. Beard, she put her question out there and we got some answers and confirmation today. So I want to say thank you. Y'all have a great rest of your week. I think we will see each other. I did not choose the week of Valentine's Day, but we are going to meet after that. So we only got a few more left, y'all, before this is over. So I want to say thank you for your questions. I do know that y'all are looking for more info on acceleration, specifically how we do it in K5. So I will get some more feedback for you on that. And so y'all have a great rest of your week. Stay warm, stay cool, where it's just floating around there. So bye everyone. Have a good one.